Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are getting into some more advanced features of Serum by making just a nice chill lo-fi synth patch. Context is super important when you are learning a brand new plugin or a new synth, so come follow along while we make this thing from scratch. Alright, so we are going to build upon the quick start guide that I made for Serum. So if you're brand new to Serum, maybe have a look at that first. The very first step is for us to choose a waveform from the list here to sort of serve as the foundation for the whole sound. So let's load up the same basic WRD from before, just to give us some quick and simple options that we get access to when we adjust the wavetable position right down here. Since we know that we're after a sort of chill, lo-fi key sound, let's stick with a sine wave as the main waveform because it naturally has fewer harmonics, which contributes to the chill factor. Now, I like to get a more interesting sound going as fast as possible, which we can do by increasing the unison to 3. So we get 2 more detuned voices, which really helps add some richness to the sound. So check this out. The detuning is a little funky at the moment, so we're just going to pull it back to about 0.05 or so, and also move the blend back so that we can sort of keep the main correctly tuned voice right up front and center. And next, let's head over to Oscillator B so that we can throw in some new higher harmonics with a different waveform so that it's not just a sine wave, you know? Just to save some time, go up to the menu and select Copy Oscillator A to Oscillator B with mods. And then next, let's change the octave on Oscillator B to 1 up, and then move the wavetable position knob at the bottom and sort of just cycle through the wavetable until you find a waveform combination that you like. And I kind of like this one, so let's stick with that. So now let's head down to the envelope 1 section so we can just adjust how it behaves over time. I'm gonna move the release to about ½ second so it has more of a soft, gradual decline when I stop playing the note. I also like to pull the sustain down to about -5 decibels and then push the decay to about 2 seconds, just so that it sounds more natural. We're gonna come back and do some more cool stuff with the envelopes in just a second, but for now, let's just go up to the top right section over here, the filter section, and then click the little gray button to activate the filter. And we can see that it's currently set to affect Oscillator A, but I'm also going to select Oscillator B so that it affects both oscillators equally for a more consistent sound. We can also change the filter type by clicking MG Low 12 right up here, which I believe is an analog modeled low pass filter. And I'm gonna choose, for this sound, I'm gonna choose a much steeper filter, the MG Low 24, just so that we get more extreme control over the tone of our sound. The numbers mean how many decibels per octave are getting reduced from the filter. So let's see how this sounds. We can kind of hear this working now, but my plan is to use the filter to slowly but surely close out the sound the longer that we hold down the note. So to get the filter to change over time, we just need to apply an envelope to it. But before we do, I like to set the filter of the frequency to what we want it to end at, because it'll make our life a little bit easier down the line. So let's go real low here. I'm gonna go to 90 Hertz or so. So now we need to head over to the envelope section and just click on the envelope 2 tab to switch over. And then we're just gonna click and hold and drag the tab over to the cutoff control on the filter so we can actually hear what the envelope on the filter is doing. The way that we're going to give the filter a journey over time is we're just going to bring the sustain all the way down to 0 because it gives us the clearest idea of what's happening with the envelope. So right now the filter is closing too fast, so I'm just going to stretch the decay way out to about 10 seconds. But as you can hear, the filter cuts right off after we stop holding the note, so we also need to stretch out the release. Nice, so the movement is what we're looking for, but its starting point is way too high in the spectrum to affect our sound, so we just need to shorten the range of the envelope just by dragging this tiny knob by the filter cutoff back a bit. just like that. That's essentially the depth control for our envelope. The other cool thing that we are gonna do with the envelopes is just add some nice organic attack to the sound. So drag envelope to the filter cutoff as well. Oh yes. We're basically just gonna make a really fast filter envelope that closes right away to give some more bite to the sound. So once again, just move the sustain all the way down to 0. And then let's move the decay to something like really fast, like 40 milliseconds or so. All right, so to make it a little less dramatic, we're just gonna do the same thing as before. We're going to drag that tiny little knob by the filter cutoff and reduce the depth of envelope 3 this time because that's the envelope that we have selected. So here's what it sounded like before. And here is after. It is subtle, but effective. One other kind of funny thing that I discovered is if you go the other direction on the depth of envelope 3 on the filter, you can make this kind of cute little lead sound. Possibilities. So the next thing we're gonna do is just turn up the lo-fi. So let's sauce this up by making some changes to the tuning. The first thing we're gonna do is activate the noise filter on the left with the little gray button once again, and then change the type of noise to something like ARP pink, and then turn the level down to 0 so that we don't actually hear it. We're gonna use this noise to modify the pitch. Head on up to the matrix tab at the very top. This basically just gives us a nice overview of everything that's happening in the synth. On the third row of the destination column, just click and select the global section right here, and then select masked tune or master tuning, which lets us mess with the pitch of the entire synth. And now what we can do is select the noise oscillator in the source column to tell Serum that we want it to use the noise oscillator to control the pitch. And to actually start activating it, we're gonna drag up this depth slider right here and apply the noise modification. It's pretty crazy, huh? But we're gonna make the sound just a little bit better. So I'd keep the depth at around 10 for right now. And then as of this moment, the more that we drag up the depth, the sharper that it gets, which is not what we want. So in the type column, click the arrow that's pointing to the right so that it shows a double arrow, which basically tells Serum to modify the pitch on either side of the correct pitch instead of just going above it, if that makes sense. And you might be thinking, how do we slow this pitch mod down? It's way too jittery right now. Well, we use the pitch knob of the noise oscillator. So check this out. If we go back to the oscillator tab up here, listen to what happens when we adjust the pitch. Salt to taste here. So once you've got the speed dialed in how you want, just head back to the matrix tab, and then you'll see on the right side, there's another slider that we can use to actually further control how subtle the pitch mod is. So let's drag that back and get it sounding how we want. And sometimes if I'm feeling like I want a little bit more of a wavy sound, I'll add another pitch mod in the same exact process we just used, but instead of using the noise oscillator, we're gonna just use the LFO, just to give it a bit more movement and make it sound a little more dizzying, only, you know, if we want it. It's totally optional though. And now it's time for the sauce. The sauce that ties all of it together. Are you ready? So click the effects tab, click on the effects tab at the very top, and you'll see all of the effects that you can use from Serum on the left. And it's really nice that it's all just in one area that we can add and take away stuff really easily and change the order. So I like to start with a little chorus just to tie the sounds together a little bit. Pepper in a little bit of delay. Maybe some reverb to give it some space. Just get it sounding cozier and cozier. And this section right here is where your taste is really gonna come into play. So, you know, just start playing around with all of these. You can even add a high pass filter if you're playing chords in a lower register, which might be useful. You could even add some saturation if you want, but that's pretty much our sound. Don't forget to come up to the top and click save and name it something that gives you a clue about what it sounds like. So if you're making music later on, you just need that type of sound, you'll know exactly what to click on. If you guys would like me to cover a specific or certain type of sound that you like, let me know down in the comments. And until next time, take care of yourselves and have fun making weird sounds. We'll see you next time.